Well, hello, model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Revell, and here is the completion of my 65 Impala Super Sport convertible here with the 409 engine. And this is quite an interesting car, and I've been reading and learning more about them. Um, I like Impalas, and I really like, the flashiness and everything that goes along with them. But learning more about each one, as I really haven't looked too far into them, and there's a lot of different things, and it's kind of fun for me. And even just going into this time period, some of the things I didn't know about. Well, a lot of things I didn't know about in this particular car. I knew it was the last year of the 409 engine, and a little bit about that. But when it comes to this one, these cars, they were built in a large number. I was a bit surprised. I like getting into how many were made and whatnot. 1965 was a massive year for Chevrolet. I know that previously they were worried they were building in such volumes that they were being threatened to be broken up as a monopoly because of the just the sheer volume and how much market share they actually held. So, getting into that, 65 was like one of the top years. I mean, 1955 was a big year for them in sales, but 1965, Chevrolet broke 3 million cars for the year. I mean, vehicles, which that's a huge number. And that's just Chevrolets, not Buicks, Pontiacs, any of the other brands, GMC, just Chevrolets. And even this body, the V body platform for 65, which was all new, I mean, completely new, frame and everything. This has a perimeter frame instead of the box frame or X frame that the other ones had before that. So there's being an all new body style and almost everything new other than drivetrains and stuff. There was 1 million of these cars made in the B body platform, which that was the Bel Air, the Impala SS, and also the Biscayne. And GM didn't quite keep records of exactly how many of a certain combination were built, but they did keep track of how many engines were built. Being the last year of the 409, there was roughly 2,800 409s put into the B-body platforms. So that engine alone is very rare. And the mid-year introduction of the 396 replaced the 409. But the 396 was built in large numbers. Something like 55,000 of these B bodies got that. Now, GM doesn't know or didn't keep good records to know how many of those 409s went into Impala SSs, how many of them went into regular Impalas. The SS package had nothing to do with the drivetrain. The SS package was strictly an appearance package and a comfort package and a little bit of a handling package. But engine did not matter when it came to, any of these. The VIN doesn't tell you anything on what motor you have. It does tell you that it is an SS, and it does tell you if it's an 8-cylinder engine or a 6-cylinder engine. Yes, Impala SSs with 6 cylinders are still available in 65. They're very rare. Since the VIN tells you, GM does know that there were 399 Impala SS convertibles made with a 6-cylinder and something like 27,000 Impala SS convertibles made with an 8-cylinder engine. But other than that, no breakdown from there. When it comes to the coupes, there was 239 SS packages sold total. 239,000 SS packages. So the SS package was very popular, but like 27,000 of those were convertibles. So 10% of the SS packages were convertibles. So what differentiates a super sport? One is obviously this badge down here, which the regular Impala would just say Impala there. It doesn't say Impala anywhere on the back. There's rocker moldings on the bottom and on the quarter panel here that a regular Impala would have that the Super Sport does not have. The front isn't much different. This is an all-new front end, but it does have Impala SS on the grille versus the regular one which just says Chevrolet. It doesn't say Impala on the front grille. This lower valance panel on the model kit is chromed, and it's part of it. That's actually a silver painted panel, which I left it alone, left it chrome, but that's actually a silver panel, not body color. And then on the back, kind of the same thing. It does say Impala SS on the back here, and this trim panel is mostly black with a little bit of silver highlights. On the regular Impala, It's silver with a little bit of black outlines and highlights. One exception, though, it's kind of interesting to find out. If the car was black, it was a different color SS panel back here, like an argent and chrome or gray and chrome, versus the black one. The black panel here got every other color. Now this one I had some fun. I had to do this color. I love these cars in this color. This is scale finishes paint, but it's Evening Orchid is what it's called. Pink metallic, lovely color. And then I did it with the SS interior in white and black right there and all that. Now the SS package, that's where it really stood out, is the interior. Bucket seats and a console, of course, floor shifter. And then the gauge package is different. And on the bottom of the dash here is silver trim, where a regular Impala would have wood there. But a regular Impala has completely different door panels, and even the seat upholstery pattern is different. But a regular Impala would have a bench. I keep dropping my up top boot here. But so the interior was completely different on the SS packaged cars. Other than that, when it came to the drivetrain, didn't matter. 6-cylinder, 327, 283, 396, 409. They all were available, and it really didn't matter as far as the trim went. So, that being said, this, particular model kit, very, very rare. Don't know how many actual 409 SS convertibles were made. I read that in February was when the 409 was canceled. And they said due to lack of sales, with the 396 was coming out anyway. This one, though, let's go take this outside, and I'll tell you more about the actual build of it, so you can see this paint in the sun, because it just really looks great that way. Well, here we are outside in the Arizona sun, and this is becoming like one of my favorite things to do, is take it out and put it in the sunlight and just look at my work, and sometimes like the paint jobs like this out in the sun, especially on a car like this with all the chrome and all the highlights and just all the trim. It just looks exceptionally well, and it's just fun for me. So, but here is the 65 Impala Super Sport convertible with the 409, and this is an Evening Orchid, like the flower. And man, I like this color, especially in the sun. It just really glitters. And with that white interior, black dash, black carpet, and all that chrome, it just really sparkles. But the white walls, the hubcaps, and like the real cars, this thing squats in the back, which is kind of cool. There's those tail lights, which you can really see the foil on the back when the sun hits them just right. So, they're foil in the back. It's kind of fun to detail, just kind of dry brush the chrome around to get those bezels and pieces to really shine on you. But there she is, a Super Sport emblem, 409 emblem, chrome on the hood, which is hard to see in certain angles. But look at the shine. All right. Kind of a big car, really hangs over this one. But that's what they were. All the chrome trim back there, the SS. All right. You see how nice and straight it looks and everything. All right, let's all head back inside. All right. Another thing about the SS package that I kind of forgot or skipped over was these tri-bar hubcaps. Those were specific to the SS package as well, and they had an SS emblem in there. There were some other ones option, but the SS package cars had that. And I believe that was the last year for the tri-bar, or we had one more year. By 67, the tri-bar was no longer, legal as far as federally mandated. It said, they were just kind of outlawed by the government for safety reasons. So, but I believe that was 65 was the last year. 66 may have had them. I do know it affected the Corvette with the knockoffs. But anyways, when it comes to this kit, though, this is a Revell monogram kit in the huge box. Kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to get this one done is, it's been sitting around the house since 2012 when I kind of started it. and I always knew I was going to build this one, this particular color. Just knew this was the color I wanted to make it. But for whatever reason, it's just kind of sat, never really got motivated to build it. Even had to paint for a while. It was just sitting and sitting, and the box was folding over and just crumbling and crushing. And I was getting to the point where I had it in its own tote because it was, going to be crushed. So I decided, all right, it's time to just get this one done. I got a lot of stalled projects. This was one of them. Let's get this hood open. This is kind of just a little hard to get, because it kind of, the way it lands in the hood, it's a little hard to get it open. But here we go. There's the boot. But there's the 409 engine, all the hoses right from the kit, all in there. The clear washer bottle, which to tell you to paint blue for the OptiClean in it. The 409. This one, I believe, because it's a single snorkel, it's the low horsepower version. There were two versions of the 409. I do know that only roughly like almost 800 409 high horse ones, which I believe was 400 horse. And then I think there was a 350 was the low one, 325 or 350 horse 409, which I believe is what this one is. Was trying to find some of the difference. The higher horsepower, the 425 dual quad that was available in, I believe, 64, was no longer available in 65. But, this one's got the manual tranny, which a 4-speed was available behind it. 65, the Turbo 400 became available. So it was the first year for the Turbo 400 in a Chevrolet. It was available in Buicks and Cadillacs in 64, the Turbo 400. But, that was the first year for it in this one. So, but really didn't put them behind these big blocks. And some people don't even call these big blocks. It's kind of funny, the W block. Oh, and here's the up top. The kit comes with an up top, and it looks pretty good. Mine is slightly warped and twisted, so it doesn't sit on the header bow that well. And, this kit, it actually went together really well. I had really no issues with the convertible version. It kind of squats in the back a little bit, but the car is that way as well. Like the up top, if I push it down, it just lines up just beautifully. But there's just a small amount of twist in that. Interior is awesome. All the detail is in there is awesome. The decals are kind of old. I was having some issues with them. I got some to stick, but most of them I didn't use. All the body ones I ended up not using. I love the fact that it has dual mirrors. It had an antenna. I really don't put antennas on my cars, rarely, and this one the hole was filled and you had to drill it, and I kind of left it alone. I redid the white wall on the tires a little bit. I got a video on that. You guys have seen that if you've been watching my videos. But even this chrome frame, I was a little hesitant about putting it together because it's 3 parts. But I got it on there and it glued really well, and then I put the glass in afterwards. I wasn't sure if I should put the glass in before or after. So I took the gamble and put it all on before, and everything, went really well. And I used these to help angle it. So the quarter windows here, vent windows. So it went together nicely, and just love the way this one came out and the color combo and the elegance of it. Just a beautiful car and a bit of a land yacht. These were big cars. They got a little bit bigger. Pontiac started calling theirs the wide track. These were like wide body or something, or GM or Chevrolet had their own, but it didn't really catch on. I forgot what the term was. But these were a little bit bigger in almost everything spec-wise compared to the 64. Only the wheelbase is the same, but they're a little wider, a little bit longer. I think it said the front end is 2 inches wider and the rear end is 3 inches wider. And then the overhang is just a little bit more. So some of the specs are, it's a big car. But for 65, it was a great seller. 66 continued on. The frame and everything, I think, continued on all the way to 72 or 70 without any revisions, but the sheet metal changed a little bit here and a little bit there. But this one was a real pleasure to build. Really enjoyed it. Just kind of took my time with it. And she was fun. And, I would highly recommend it too. I guess there's some lowrider versions of it, which I've seen. I've actually had 1 or 2 and sold them when I score them kind of cheap or whatnot. But anyways, you guys, I did finish the blue coupe as well. I'll do a separate video of that and talk more about the 396 and some of the other options as well. But thanks you guys for tuning in, subscribing, and all your comments and everything. I really do appreciate it. And you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next time.